Thursday, almost there. Welcome to Frontline, 6 o'clock here on the East Coast. Looks like Alyssa Farah isn't going to wear a MAGA hat, even though she said she was anytime soon. And the government shutdown is into its 15th day. But we're going to start tonight with some breaking news out of Maryland, where a grand jury has indicted former National Security Advisor John Bolton for his handling, or lack of good handling, of classified information. You know, the deep state's probably freaking out right now. We're going to have more on this in just a couple minutes. Also, at the White House, President Trump made a major announcement regarding IVF treatment, but had a word of advice for drug makers.
Pergovirus. And that's just sound being nice name. Pergovirus. Why can't you name them nice, simple names? Nice, easy names. Doesn't matter.
Thank God somebody said it. And for the first time, the FBI has brought charges against Antifa-aligned extremists, charging a Cameron Arnold, a trans-Tifa, Zachary Evitz for the July 4th attack on the Prairieland Ice Facility in Texas. Of course it's a trans person. But first, CNN just gave Republicans the best campaign commercial material since, I don't know, Kamala Harris. Thanks. Let's do this. Yeah, for the last few years, I have actually been wondering what the Democrats are for. We know what they're against, basically just Trump, but what are they for, and what is their definition of success for America? And the most ironic thing happened last night at a CNN town hall is that AOC and Bernie Sanders were the ones to finally answer that question for me. But one thing's clear, AOC is definitively running for president. Forget Chuck Schumer's seat. Bernie knows too. Just look at how they reacted when they were asked.
But are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
I mean,
all right.
No.
Let me jump in on this one.
This is what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking
about. Huh. And then they pivoted back to the ambiguous calls against grievances with absolutely no solutions.
You have a country that is falling apart. We had a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, a corrupt campaign finance system.
I'm glad you brought all that up. Housing crisis, healthcare crisis, education crisis, massive income and wealth inequality, campaign finance, which, by the way, was a Citizens United decision. But why do we have those? Why do we have those crises? Oh, they just scream these grievances out into the ether with no solutions. Let's just hit them one by one.
We're living in the richest country in the history of the world, right? All right, you tell me why we're the only nation not to guarantee health care to all people, the only nation not to guarantee paid family and medical leave.
People will die. Health care. This is my favorite one to refute. I'd challenge Bernie to point out health care in the Constitution as a right. He thinks health care is a right and therefore should be provided for free to all citizens. Not in the Constitution, pal. But by that logic, actually, the government should provide me guns, too, because, you know, that's in the Constitution. But I digress. Healthcare is a service. So to guarantee it for free, you would require a doctor to provide that service for free. That's actually slavery. And since Republicans took that away from Democrats 160 years ago, can't do that. Here's the thing, though. The government does nothing well, in fact. And we should have learned this simply by overseeing the healthcare system at the VA. But nope. Bernie basically got his wish, though, with Obamacare. And what happened? Premiums tripled. That's actually why we have a healthcare crisis right now, Bernie, because of your bill. Forget about all the fraud for just a second. The Democrats also don't want to address that would drive costs down if they did. But forget all that stuff for just a minute. The reality is you can only have 2 out of 3 things when it comes to healthcare. You can have it good, you can have it fast, or you can have it cheap. Pick 2. In America, it's good and it's fast. People come from all over the world to reap the benefits of our healthcare system at sometimes great expense. But let me tell you why we're, quote, the only nation not to guarantee free healthcare to all people, which is false because I don't think places like Botswana gives healthcare to people for free. But I think he's talking about modern nations, so we'll go with that. Take England or Canada, okay? Your healthcare is cheap, and by that I mean it's virtually free because you pay enormous taxes for it. And it is guaranteed eventually you might spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years on a waiting list for any basic treatment for which you will receive some care. May be good, may not be good, which is why part of the reason Canada offers suicide as a medical remedy, actually. But how do they pay for it? By charging people in the $65,000 income bracket over 50% in taxes. Oh, Carl, we pay 50% of our money in taxes here for most income brackets in federal and state and local too. Ah, yes, excellent point. But what is different? What do we have that Canada does not? A military so big that we could literally just squash an entire continent over the weekend. We spend more on defense than the next 25 countries combined. 23 of them are allies, by the way. So while Canada offers you a knee replacement 3 years from now by a subpar doctor, maybe imported from a third world nation, when they're in trouble, they call us with our soldier who's already recovered from that knee replacement by a fantastic doctor 2.5 years ago, now serving on one of our 11 carrier battle groups powered by twin nuclear reactors, escorted by submarines that move faster than Canada's Green Dream bullet trains. That's why we don't have guaranteed health care, Bernie. And if we didn't prioritize that defense system, Bernie, being Jewish, I'm sure you'd appreciate this, modern America would be speaking German, and he certainly wouldn't be a U.S. senator. He talked about housing crisis, too.
Why we have a $7.25 an hour minimum wage. Why we have 800,000 people sleeping out on the street.
First off, it's minimum wage. Minimum. This is so typical of a socialist. See, I have run businesses in my life, and the question you have to ask yourself before you hire anybody for anything is, does this person add more value than their salary? The real question Bernie Sanders would be asking, or should be asking, is why aren't people more productive in the workforce? Could it be spending $250,000 on an underwater basket weaving degree be the reason? Because that's why they're getting paid minimum wage at Starbucks. And the fact that there are 800,000 people homeless right now on the street, almost 200,000 of which are veterans. My guy has been in government for 50 years, never proposed a realistic solution. California did spend $37 billion on homeless, and the problem got worse, actually. But also, you want to know why we're having a housing crisis? In part, because Democrats imported 20 million illegals that had to live somewhere. And by basic laws of supply and demand, which Bernie also doesn't understand, priced everyday Americans out of the housing market. How? Because the federal government not only guaranteed FHA loans to immigrants, sometimes illegal, that, by the way, Trump terminated, but they also gave massive housing subsidies for free to illegals, which in some cases priced lifetime locals out of their own neighborhoods. Because the Guatemalan immigrant who killed a bald eagle for dinner in Nebraska received a subsidy bigger than the local salary at the hardware store and was able to outbid an American family on the apartment. And the reason people are seemingly fine with this on the left is because of the last thing Bernie Sanders brought up. About an education crisis. Yep. They're not educated, despite going to school. And this is because the Department of Education, started by a Democrat, Jimmy Carter, has made our children definitively more stupid. The woman sitting next to Bernie Sanders is proof of that. The socialist bartender with an economics degree from Boston. I'm going to prove it to you.
Rivers in rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas.
Okay. AOC, you are aware that the judge who just allowed 45,000 gallons of radioactive waste to be dumped into the Hudson River was in fact confirmed with a yes vote from the guy sitting next to you in 2004. It was in fact Obama's EPA in 2015 that released 3 million gallons of toxic water into the Colorado River. I wonder why AOC would be shocked to find out that the company responsible for the East Palestine toxic waste train crash that Biden refused to take seriously donated over $500,000 to top Democrats every year for the last 5 years. Does she realize that her precious windmills are being buried every 7 years in mass landfills to never decompose like that? Or the volume of wildlife killed by these types of toxic lithium leach fields that go on for hundreds of acres to extract the materials for the battery in the Tesla that she drives. That's charged by the coal that she's trying to eliminate. And I dropped out of college. That's why they always revert back to Republicans are racist.
Racial and white supremacist messaging that they are able to get away with digitally and online.
Shut up. It's funny coming from the woman whose Their favored liberal Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, just called black people disabled a few hours before that. That's what the Democrat Party is about. And of course, hating Donald Trump. So my perfect guest, Eric Trump, the executive vice president of the Trump Organization, the author of the absolute best-selling new book, Under Siege, My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. Eric, I'm going to get to your fantastic book in just a second. Letitia James under more scrutiny, though, right now, after being indicted last night with news that her, quote, fugitive grandniece has been living at the subject property in question since 2020. You cannot make this stuff up.
No, Carl, you can't make it up. I mean, you can't make it up. She dug so deep that she found herself. I mean, she came after us for exactly what it appears is she's doing. We got vindicated. We won the case in a 5-0 decision, overturned the entire penalty, you know, and now we find out that the chief law enforcement officer for the state of New York has a felon living in her home. I mean, literally, you could not make up this narrative. This is the hell that we've dealt with as a family literally for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. What's even crazier is your friend.
Rules for thee and not for me, right?
Oh, no, 100%. Your best friend, Nancy Pelosi, lying about January 6th. She just snapped at a reporter. Roll this.
Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points?
I don't think she's telling the truth, Eric.
She doesn't look too good there, Carl. By the way, that is like case in point why we should have term limits. Right there, term limits. Like, let's propose them right now. I mean, she's crazy as hell. She's crazy as hell. She didn't follow any of the rules either, right? In the middle of her own COVID lockdown, she's having her hair done in every California salon that she forced closed with their insane policies. I mean, you want to talk about another hypocrite like Letitia James.
Yeah, no, the worst, actually. You know, as we go through all this stuff, I can't help thinking about your book, all right? I got my copy, thumbing through it. It's really incredible. Obviously, you tell a bunch of stuff like all the prosecutions that went against you, you know, going back through January 6th and all that. But one of the things that people don't know about you, and I really want them to know in this book, is obviously you run a hospitality company in New York City, and it was during COVID. You didn't lay off any of your 10,000 employees during that thing, at much expense to yourself and your company. And you, because your last name is Trump, you are exempt from any type of PPP, COVID assistance or loans or anything. Yeah. And you still kept the line.
They specifically excluded us from PPP. We weren't allowed to take a dollar of it. We were actually written into the legislation. No one with the last name Trump, even if you had nothing to do with the family company, no one with the last name Trump was able to get any kind of PPP funds. And so I ran a company, obviously a great hospitality company, where every single day, Carl, you know, a different mayor was calling us, you know, that building must be closed in 12 hours. You're talking about the biggest restaurants, spas, you know, hospitality, you know, operations, hundreds of rooms, thousands of employees. And I didn't lay off any of them. I did not lay off any of our corporate employees. We kept them all. We're a family company. We're not Marriott. We're not Hilton. We're not one of these kind of big boxes. Mm-hmm. Our employees are our families, and we went through absolute hell during that period of time. Zero assistance that every other hospitality company in the world was getting. We got zero only because our last name was Trump, and they specifically wrote us out of the legislation in an attempt to hurt us. And yet we persevered, but we persevered with everything. I mean, they tried to kill us at every turn. You know that. I mean, You've become a dear friend of mine, Carl. You know what I went through during those years. You were by my side. You know, you saw the struggles from behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. They tried to do everything they could to take down our family. And I think the American people get it. And that's why this book went to #1. I never thought I'd be a #1 best-selling author in the United States of America. I mean, we've been running the Amazon list every single day for almost a week. Yeah. And I think it's because Americans are pissed off. Every one of us was under siege. Carl, you were under siege. I remember exactly what they did to you.
Yeah.
I was by your side when they did it to you. You were by my side when they did it to me. Every single person listening to us, they attacked them. They went after them. They deplatformed them. They silenced them. They went after their First Amendment. They closed down their churches. They closed down their gyms. Well, they came after all of us, and America and this country is pissed.
Yeah, 100%. But one of the things that hurt my soul during this whole thing, you had a charity that the Eric Trump Foundation that raised, I don't know, $30 million for children with cancer. and you had one of the lowest levels of spending on internal staff of almost any charity in the history of the 501c3 status. And they went after you and said that you were embezzling money, even though it was like 90s, like some high 90% number, actually treating cancer in children, and they went after that.
Yeah, well, I was on the board of St. Jude Children's Hospital. I raised over $50 million. I didn't have any staff. We did it all ourselves, and we had an expense ratio of 8.2%, which is by far the lowest in the country of any charity because we used all our Trump assets for free. And by the way, 50% of the 8% expense ratio was credit card processing. We had the best story of the country. When I started getting attacked, St. Jude came out viciously in defense of me because of how good we were. We literally built the largest ICU dedicated to dying children in the world. And they needed a counter-narrative to Hillary Clinton and the horrible work that she did in Haiti, and the fact that they were flying G650s all over the world on the charity's dime, and the fact that they were peddling influence through the charity. They decided they needed a counter-narrative. And who was the counter-narrative? The guy who was trying to save innocent children's lives and started that mission at 20 years old. That was the first subpoena that I'd ever received, and honestly, it broke my heart. Yeah. And I would receive 111 subpoenas after that as they tried to break me, tried to break our family. Yeah. And despite all of that, Carl, we won. We won this thing, and the nation is such a better place.
And I don't ask people to do a lot. This book has basically all 112 of those subpoenas detailed, which is Under Siege. Go on to Amazon and get it. I mean, if nothing else, do it to stick it a middle finger right up to the libs because you want it to stay at number one. Eric Trump, my man, pleasure.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Seriously, though, go buy that book. Really amazing stories in there. Coming up, a fiery twist. Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed a sweeping bill that would have increased state and local government wildfire prevention. I mean, really? Did your state literally just go up in flames? We got those details in just a sec. But first, John Bolton, finally indicted. Details next.
Just before Charlie Kirk died, he issued a stark warning of terrifying dangers ahead. Charlie wrote this in the foreword for the new book, Pagan Threat, by Pastor Lucas Miles. Charlie said that Pagan Threat could save America and that you must read and share this book. A #1 Amazon bestseller, Pagan Threat is available everywhere. Get Pagan Threat free with Newsmax's special offer and save $30. Go online today and read Charlie's final words.
Hello, I'm Franklin Graham. Have you been running through life? Who can save you? You can't save yourself, but Jesus can. You see, our sins separate us from God. Our sins are a stench in the nostrils of God. But God loves us and sent his Son on a rescue mission to save us. Jesus Christ came from heaven to this earth to save us from our sins. He took our sins to the cross. He shed his own blood. He died for our sins, and God raised him to life on the third day. He's not dead. He's alive, and he can come into your heart right now and forgive you. Just pray this prayer with me right now. Just say, God, I'm a sinner. I'm sorry for my sins. Forgive me. I do believe that Jesus is your Son, and I want to trust him as my Savior, and I want to follow him as my Lord from this day forward, forever. Amen. If you prayed that prayer, call that number right now that's on the screen.
Larry was in a really bad accident and broke his neck in the line of duty.
I get a phone call early one morning from the Tunnel Towers Foundation. Said, we're going to provide you and your family with a smart home. At that time, I just almost just passed out. I just couldn't believe it.
They heard his story, which means someone's out there listening.
By giving $11 a month, you're joining us on our mission to do good. Go to T2T.org now.
Here we go again. Ex-Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Not by Trump, by an independent grand jury that reviewed evidence on charges of mishandling classified information. Oh, the irony, considering this is exactly what they tried to do with Trump for the documents that, by the way, Biden had the National Archives shipped to Mar-a-Lago after he already left the White House. Trump was asked about it in the Oval Office a little while ago. Didn't even know what happened. Roll it.
I didn't know that. You told me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes.
Keep them coming. Former federal prosecutor Doug Burns. Doug, 18 counts related to these crimes. These cases, historically, pretty easy. It's like Is it classified? Cool. You're guilty.
Well, there's three different parts to it. I mean, and it's pretty serious. A, he had stuff on unauthorized servers, specifically AOL. B, he disseminated stuff to two relatives, which they sort of cryptically identify as person one and person two. Next is a whole other topical area, which is the book he was writing, angry book, I might add. And there was all kinds of classified stuff, and the government raised all kinds of concerns about what was in there. And then lastly, and perhaps most importantly, since these cases have two levels, one is the mere possession and so on, and then the other one is creating a threat, he was hacked. So that created a serious problem in terms of national security, Carl.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing is just fascinating to me. But also the Cook County, Illinois top judge, this is like even crazier down the rabbit hole, signed an order barring, didn't even sign an order, just put an order out, barring ICE agents from arresting people at court. Now, jurisdictionally, can a local non-federal judge bar federal agents from doing anything?
No, absolutely cannot. All kinds of notions of supremacy of federal law. And then also, look, I mean, this is not my first rodeo, as they say. And I've been in courts many, many, many times. And federal agents will show up at a local court, and everybody's most accommodating. What are you doing here? We have an arrest warrant for defendant Mr. X. Okay, fine. Just wait here, yada, yada. And the arrest is effectuated. So this is nothing more than, lots of political drama and theater.
Yeah, you would also think that, like, if someone broke the law, they'd want to put him in jail, but they don't. We don't do that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Also in Chicago, Doug. Now, this is a federal judge now. Sarah Ellis, who is a Canadian-born to Jamaican-born parents, has just ruled that ICE agents there must wear body cameras. Okay, my question here, all right, fine, maybe if they have them laying around, but can a federal judge order DHS to purchase body cams? Because that sounds an awful lot like fiscal policy, which is allocated by Congress, which Democrats spent the last 4 years reminding everybody that it's a co-equal but separate branch of government. So can a judge order them to spend out of a budget they may or may not have to buy these things?
Well, as you just said, I mean, it's like 7th grade social studies, basically, seriously, which is, A, it's all kinds of executive functions in that regard, right, as to what they should do and what the regulations are and so on. And then B, as you just laid out, Congress and funding. So again, I mean, look, to look at this from 30,000 feet, and I think people find it interesting, the Democrats, they don't have the White House, they don't have the Supreme Court, they don't have the Senate, they don't have the House. So what are we seeing unfold before our eyes? They're going to courts, the last final sort of Hail Mary, and trying to cherry pick. You've heard the lawyers explain forum shopping and so forth. And this is their last bastion, but a lot of the judges are really overstepping their bounds, in my opinion, Carl. Yeah. And, I've said it many times.
Well, talk about overstepping your bounds here, Doug. A federal judge appointed by Bill Clinton just issued a decision now blocking President Trump from firing federal workers during the government shutdown. Again, broad sweeping decision that the Supreme Court, I thought, said can't happen anymore. But by the way, this wasn't even a written decision yet. It's just a verbal order from the bench, which is like, this woman is like, yeah, I'm more powerful than the President of the United States.
Well, it's funny. I was on the phone with a friend, and he raised your exact point. And I was like, wow, that's a really good point. He said, didn't the Supreme Court cut back the ability of these district judges to issue these wide-sweeping injunctions? And I said, yeah, it's an excellent point. And it's like the old joke about the dog, which I'm not going to say, but it's like, why do they do it? Because they can. I mean, a federal individual district judge, again, should not be making policy, should not be issuing nationwide injunctions that bind the entire country, and then should not be using a sophisticated sort of charade, calling it a class action. But again, back to my formulation, this is their wing and a prayer, basically. But again, it's a short-term ruling, and you watch, Carl. It'll be overturned, Trump will prevail, and then it'll be crickets and on to the next topic.
And by the way, nothing will happen to her. So that's it. Doug Burns, pleasure, my man.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, the Democrat Clown Show. Well, still at it. All that and more in our Culture Clash.
Hi, I'm Katrina Ziff. I've worked on the red carpet, I've worked at Vogue magazine, and now I work at Newsmax, and I couldn't be happier because it's all about bringing the most important stories in the world directly to you.
Hi, folks. I'd like to tell you about YRefi. Did you know that as an accredited investor, when you invest in YRefi, your interest rate is fixed? And did you know that you can invest from 1 to 5 years and you can spread your investment over those terms to best suit your needs? And you have the freedom to take your monthly interest income or reinvest it, whatever you choose. When you invest in YRefi, your interest is calculated daily, you're paid monthly, and should you need your money back early, there is a liquidity feature. Would you like more information? All you have to do is call 877-80-INVEST. That's 877-80-INVEST, or log on to investyrrefi.com. That's investyrrefi.com for complete details. And make sure you review the private placement memorandum and scan this QR code to view the disclosure at your leisure. YRefi, investing in America's future.
Humana Medicare Advantage plans. Carry this card, and you could have the power to get benefits beyond Original Medicare. These are convenient plans that offer all of the benefits of Original Medicare, plus extra coverage and benefits. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage in one convenient plan, with $0 copays on hundreds of prescriptions. All plans include dental coverage, including $0 copays for covered preventive services, vision coverage with eye exams, and an allowance to use towards eyewear, and hearing benefits with routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. That's more than you get with Original Medicare. But it gets even better, because Humana offers plans with $0 or low monthly plan premiums. You may also get $0 copays for routine vaccines at in-network retail pharmacies, $0 copays for in-network primary care visits, and $0 copays for in-network preventive services. Plus, worldwide coverage for emergency and urgent care when you travel. And Medicare Advantage plans ensure your covered medical costs, including doctor and emergency care, will never go above a maximum out-of-pocket amount that you know beforehand. Imagine benefits like these in one convenient plan. Plus, you'll have access to Humana's multiple large plan networks of doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. So if you want more from Medicare, call or scan the QR code now to see if there's a plan in your area that could give you extra coverage and benefits, including coverage for doctor, hospital, and prescription drugs, plus a cap on your out-of-pocket medical costs. And all plans include coverage for dental, vision, and hearing. A knowledgeable, licensed Humana sales agent will explain your coverage options, even help you enroll over the phone. Call today, but now is the time. The annual enrollment period ends December 7th. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Thanks to Jointivia, I'm back in the swing of things. Wait, $70 for a refill?
You gotta try Single Care. Just look up your prescription, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and save.
See why more people are saving with Single Care.
Well, folks, this is some unfortunate breaking news. Ace Frehley, the founding guitarist of the iconic rock band Kiss, unfortunately died today at the age of 74 after, weeks of Frehley canceling his remaining tour dates due to ongoing medical issues. Apparently, he's fell and had a brain bleed. That's what we're hearing at this point. We'll keep you posted on that. But the Democrats really just continue to be completely cringy and embarrass themselves during the shutdown. This is why nobody takes you seriously. This is like this purple-haired lib congresswoman from my state, Rosa DeLauro, trying to do some a weird TikTok thing, asking where the Republicans are. I don't know. But look at all those weird participation trophies in the back. Like, her walls are covered in flair. All the flair you can handle. Shawn Farash, comedian and K. Smythe, writer for KSmytheHill.com. Shawn,
This is giving me flashbacks back to when I was about, 8 years old, and the show Pokemon was on, and at the end of every episode they did, name that Pokemon, because that woman, I don't know, it's Halloween every day for her. She always looks like that. Like, I know she's probably excited 15 days. Everyone gets to look a little scary. But for the other 364 days a year, she's just one of the only ones who looks scary. I have no idea what this is even supposed to be and how that even became trendy on TikTok. Best of luck to her. I'll say best of luck to her.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of my congressmen from my home state. All right, Kay, your favorite here, Kimmel, just adding to the stupidly false narratives that these blue cities don't need the National Guard because they're not violent. Roll this.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Spread it around. There's no chaos in Portland. None. There is no chaos in Chicago. There was no chaos in Los Angeles. They're pretending there's chaos as a pretense for a military takeover. But I'm open-minded. If there is chaos in these cities Trump calls hellholes, let's see it and decide if something needs to be done about it.
Let's see some. I mean, Kay, you had fat naked people. Oh, there's some. You had fat naked people laying in the street in Portland in October when the same people, they're wearing a mask because of, following the science, and they're naked laying on the freezing cold ground.
Yeah, you literally have to step over bodies to get into Kimmel's building on Hollywood Boulevard. And I know that because I used to live a block away from there. The fact that he doesn't think this stuff is happening proves that he is the most elitist scumbag. I mean, he's such an idiot anyway, but this just proves how out of touch he is. He wouldn't know the chaos was happening because he lives in his own little sad echo chamber that never actually sees the outside world. He's too stupid to open his eyes and go out and literally see the bodies that are scattered across the city that he lives in and works in and all of the others that he just listed. Like, all of these cities need to be cleaned up. I don't know a single person in California that would ever agree with him. And if they do, they're as stupid as he is.
Yeah, well, enough said on that one. But Shawn, this is insane. ICE just arrested an illegal immigrant, but not just anyone. He was an active Illinois police officer. The officer is originally from Montenegro and has been in the U.S. on an expired visa for 10 years. Nobody thought to check that at the police department?
Oh my gosh, didn't something like this just happen in like Maine or something where there was an illegal alien that was working as a cop, and then there was also an illegal alien as the superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa schools? What is going on in this country? How about New York, Carl, with their driver's licenses, CDLs with no name given? Do you know what I had to do to get my driver's license transferred from New York to Tennessee? I not only had to give my name, I had to give proof that my name was my name, and then proof that I was being billed under my name at an address in Tennessee. You got people walking up there going, I don't have a name. Okay, here, go drive a truck. Are you kidding me? I cannot believe they are super citizens. They have more rights than you. They have more rights than me. They've got more rights than Kay. They're voting. They're getting health care. They're like, no, they're not getting health care. Did you know that Oregon, the state of Oregon, has proposed a budget for their state Medicaid program that surpasses the budget for the state police because they're giving illegal aliens health care? Yeah. This is out of control. Nobody should be okay with things like this. And that story out of Chicago, it's par for the course for them. And I bet you he's not the only one.
Like that entire town in Illinois should just have all their parking tickets voided for the last 10 years. Like, I don't even care anymore.
Yes.
Like, sorry, not sorry. All right, Kay. Young liberals are now apparently endorsing violence to end deportation, saying, quote, 42% of liberals said it was acceptable to go beyond peaceful protest, even if that meant breaking the law. The number jumps to 60% of liberals under 30. And I just saw a clip of Don Fired Lemon, who's married to a white guy, by the way. He just came out and said, he was like, these people should arm up to protect themselves from their government. I'm like, did I just hear that from Don Lemon?
Of course you did. Don Lemon's so stupid, he doesn't even know what he's saying. He doesn't realize how absolutely insane that sounds coming from him. I think everyone should arm up. This is America. Like, you're allowed to do that. It's one of the greatest things about this country. It's why we're not going the same way as Great Britain right now. And on the liberals under 30 thinking that they should do they should do violence to
I love
fight
my odds,
ICE.
Kay.
Like, I don't even know what it is, but let's bring back the draft. Then let's send all of those little idiots down to the border and have them actually help out and stop these illegal immigrants from coming in the first place. And then they understand probably 5 years after that, when they actually hit the age of 30, which is, I swear, these days when people's brains actually grow to a functional size. So you speak to anyone under the age of 30 and you're just like, can you read?
They just stand around 6'7". That's all I hear from these people. Okay.
They still don't know what that is.
I don't know either. My daughter
It's a
says
thing.
it all
I don't
the
think
time.
it's a thing.
I don't know
I
what
just
it
know
means.
that it's more points on the Jets score every Sunday. But you know.
Yeah, that's my team, Sean. Thanks for that.
Me
all right?
too.
You know what?
Me too. Okay.
We're done here. We're done. Sean and Kay, thank you. I'll see you guys next week. All right, coming up, Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill that would help prevent wildfires in California because it was too expensive. But sure, let's drop 282 milskis on gerrymandering. That logic next.
Hi, I'm Charlotte McBride. I love working at Newsmax because every day we bring you honest reporting with real conversations, no spin. We're not telling you how to think. We're just giving you the facts and letting you decide what's best for you and your family.
I'm William Cross, creator of Neuropaway. I'm a type 1 diabetic and I've suffered from burning, tingling, and numbness in my hands and feet for most of my life. That's why I created Neuropaway, the only clinically proven nerve support product for burning, tingling, and numbness. Try our best-selling topical gel for near instant relief. With a real money-back guarantee, you've got nothing to lose but nerve discomfort. Neuropaway is available at all major retailers, or you can find us at neuropaway.com.
In every pour of 4547 Patriot Edition whiskey, you taste more than whiskey. You taste freedom. Crafted to honor the patriots who built this land, protected by the warriors and the first responders who guard it every day. Forged in the makings of history on the road to a greater tomorrow. Now the fastest growing new whiskey in the country. Raise your glass to tradition. Raise it to heroes. Raise it to America. Built by patriots, for patriots.
Have you compared your Medicare plan recently? With eHealth, you can compare Medicare plans side by side for free. So we invited people to give eHealth a try and discover how easy it can be to find your Medicare match.
This is pretty amazing. I can go on a vacation with this money.
I have quite a few prescriptions.
That's why people call us. We're going to compare plans, and I'm going to try to get you as much bang for your buck as possible.
That's great.
This one here covers all your prescriptions, your doctors as well.
Oh, wonderful.
I have a hard time with this.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. Based on our conversation today, I would highly recommend this plan.
You're so helpful. You don't know.
I'm excited for you, sir. Again, my name is Cham. If you have any other questions, give me a ring.
Thank you very much. Oh my God, that was super easy.
See how your Medicare plan stacks up with the big changes for 2026. Just call this number or get started at eHealth.com. Compare plans that cover your doctors, prescriptions, pharmacy, and budget. And compare plans from the nation's top insurance companies. They pay us to help you. How much do you think you'll be able to save using eHealth?
At least $300 a month.
Would you say you found your Medicare match?
Yes, I did. What Sham did, she explained to me exactly what I needed to know.
Well, I have a surprise for you. Cham, come on out.
Oh my goodness.
It's a pleasure to meet you today, sir.
What does it feel like to be face to face?
You helped me out quite a bit.
Call to meet your advisor. They're paid the same no matter which Medicare Advantage plan you choose. Ask them about eHealth Live Advise or get started on your own at eHealth.com. Either way, it's always a free service. See if you could get more for less with eHealth, like these folks did.
The savings are unbelievable.
I could see the costs side by side. eHealth is wonderful. $1,200 savings in my pocket. I was really pleasantly surprised with that.
Call 1-800-708-0234 to compare Medicare plans in your area or visit eHealth.com.
eHealth, your Medicare matchmaker.
Is Pilates for you? Well, this is Club Pilates, and we think it's for everybody because that's the point of Pilates, to feel strong and balanced and good. Exactly. Everybody Club Pilates.
Gavin Newsom really outdone himself this time. Just vetoed a fire prevention bill because of the cost. When has he ever cared about anything costing too much? SB 326 is for wildfire safety, the California Wildfire Mitigation Strategic Planning Act, which aims to create a comprehensive framework for the wildfire risk reduction in the state. They're going to put out fires, basically is what it means. But no, he says not. So like 40,000 acres of California forests and cities, didn't they just burn to the ground? Seems like this could have been a good bill. Nope, not him. He vetoed it, saying, quote, the requirements of this bill would trigger substantial ongoing costs that are not accounted for in the budget. With significant fiscal pressures and the federal government's hostile economic policies, it is vital that we remain disciplined when considering bills with significant fiscal implications that are not included in the budget, such as this measure. For these reasons, I cannot sign this bill. Dude, you built a bridge to nowhere for $40 billion. Plus, how would he create a giant low-income land grab if they didn't have all those wildfires and they actually started putting them out? It's just interesting coming from the guy who's willing to spend $282 million just on the election for his stupid Prop 50 bill so he can gerrymander the heck out of the whole state. Let it burn. Common Sense Cowboy Patrick Dorinson, sir, you're from this state. I'm glad you got out of there.
Me too, and I got to tell you something, Carl. Either one of two things. Either Gavin Newsom thinks there'll never be another devastating wildfire in California, or he thinks he's Smokey the Bear and he can prevent them.
Yeah.
Now, we all know that from what you just read, he's already blaming Donald Trump, which is kind of their go-to position for any Democrat. But look, they talk about this comprehensive plan for forest management. And before we get to the idea that he's going to waste $250 million on some crazy gerrymandering plan, California has had plans on the books for years to try and do things and clean up all the dead brush and everything else that's in the forest and all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And what do? They keep got to spend money and they keep got to adding plans and all this other nonsense. I got a tip. Hire the loggers back, start logging more, and start getting them to do what they used to do and clean all that slash out of the floors of the forest.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
Well, also, what's interesting is DEI, Trump has basically crushed this, and even NBC has gotten the memo. They laid off 150 employees last night, saying NBC eliminating its teams dedicated to covering issues affecting Black, Asian, American, Latino, and LGBTQ plus whatever people groups as part of its layoffs, and 150 staffers on Wednesday, according to two sources familiar with the matter. Wow. Okay. Progress.
Yeah, but when I saw that, I thought, wait a second. You had 150 staffers doing DEI stories? No wonder that's all they talked about. But let me tell you something. NBC, like the rest of the legacy media, they're like a lifeboat, Carl, with too many passengers. And what happens when you have too many passengers in a lifeboat? You start throwing people over the side because you're afraid you're going to capsize. Well, this is a good place to start.
I was actually thinking about it. I don't think we have 150 producers in total here at Newsmax. Forget about LGBTQ LMNOP crap. We don't have it for all the shows in a 24-hour news cycle. So maybe, that's a good point. Here's something that I want to get to, and I'm not really sure where I stand on this one. A federal judge barred the state from ever seeking testimony from a priest regarding confession, meaning if someone confesses about child molestation or child abuse or something, they're not mandatory reporters anymore. Look, the confession should be sacred. However, if a child is being injured, I actually don't know I don't know where I stand on this one.
I don't either, Carl. And when I got this issue to look at, I looked up what happens to a priest if he does disclose anything from the sanctity of the confessional, and they can be excommunicated.
Yeah.
Now, they can not grant absolution to somebody who seeks it if a crime is reported to them, or they can try and get the person to actually turn themselves in.
Right.
But, I'm no expert in canon law, and the one thing about this particular law in the state of Washington is I thought that what I read that the church was trying to get to some accommodation.
Right.
I wish we could understand the basic thing is that we've got to protect the children of this country, whatever we have to do. But again, this is a tough one. And I tell you what, Carl, I'm going to leave it to the man upstairs because it's just too hard for me.
I can tell you what I'd do. I'd kick in the door of that confessional box and drag that guy off in a beaten way right to the cops. Just me.
Well, that's a good idea.
Patrick Dorinson, your fantastic book is out there. Common Sense Cowboy's Guide to Life. Grab a copy of it. Fantastic. Appreciate you joining me.
You bet, Carl.
All right, coming up, the Dems are reportedly canceling John Fetterman now after recovering from a brain injury. He's gotten smarter. Those details next.
Nature made fruits and vegetables whole for a reason. When you isolate nutrients, you lose the teamwork that makes them powerful. At Balance of Nature, we prepare and freeze-dry the produce to help preserve it just as nature made it. Every apple, carrot, and broccoli is packed with thousands of phytonutrients, plant nutrients that give them color, taste, smell, and the stuff your body wants. That way, you're not getting isolated parts. You're experiencing the full range of naturally occurring phytonutrients.
We're down here in Wimberley, Texas, to build a smart home for Dustin Weber.
We want to welcome the Weber family to Wimberley.
Yesterday was just amazing.
The thought that has been put into these smart homes, they've thought of everything that will make his life better.
This home allows me the freedom to experience my children, taking them to bed. This home allows me the freedom to not slip and fall in the bathroom. It is a life-changing experience.
Do you have a yo-yo smile? Sometimes yellow, sometimes white. It's a constant battle between everyday stains and whitening treatments. Until now, get Smile Actives, the daily teeth whitening breakthrough that gives you a more youthful smile and helps you keep it.
At 43 years old, I don't mess around with products that waste my time. Smile Actives is easy. And it works. No gloopy trays, no messy strips. Just add a little bit on top of your toothpaste when you brush your teeth. And ta-da, white teeth.
Just add Smile Actives to your favorite toothpaste and watch the magic happen. Our patented Polyclean microfoam lifts away deep stains for a dramatically younger and whiter smile.
You have a choice. You can have those yellow teeth and just be old Nana or Pop-Pop, or you can be smiling and dazzling and full of confidence. I love my white teeth.
Scan, click, or call for your whitest smile yet. And if you order right now, we'll double your whitening free. Get an extra Smile Actives as our free gift to you, but only while supplies last.
I drink coffee every day. I started noticing that my teeth were not as bright as I'd like them to be, a little dingy. The Smile Active, it works. Got your boy gleaming.
100% of users saw whiter teeth. Smile Actives lifts away even the toughest stains from coffee, wine, and food, gently restoring your bright, youthful smile. Plus, it's safe for veneers, crowns, and dentures.
It's really a no-brainer if you want to whiten your teeth.
Clinically shown to brighten your teeth 5 shades whiter in just 7 days.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Act now. Get Smile Actives for just $24.95 and we'll double your order free. But hurry, this deal won't last. Smile Actives is guaranteed to work. Whiten your teeth or get your money back. No questions asked. Don't wait. Get Smile Actives for just $24.95 and we'll send you a second bottle absolutely free. That's free shipping, a free extra bottle. That's an incredible 58% savings. Scan the code, go to smileactives.com or call to get your beautiful whiter smile now.
Let me just take a moment to remind you what Congress has caused over the last, I don't know how many years. Government shutdown was the recent one, but they also are responsible for $38 trillion in debt, people out of work during COVID, troops barely got paid despite their contracts saying that they would get paid and they would die for that pay, inflation despite the Inflation Reduction Act, healthcare is off the charts because of Obamacare, high interest rates because they printed so much money, and Congress gets paid during this shutdown after they shut down our businesses and we didn't get paid during COVID. And now, instead of fixing it, Democrats are going to be at a No Kings protest again this Saturday. Yeah, it's making its way back to a city near you this weekend. And, what's the point? I don't know. Brianna, Lyman, elections correspondent for The Federalist, and Matt Palumbo, author of The Air. Brianna, I look at this and I'm like, great, a bunch of stupid people are going to gather by the millions in the somewhat cold with their masks on, parked next to their, next drag queen hierarchy, and they're going to go yell at stuff.
Yeah, there's a few points to make here, Carl. The first is just safety concerns. This was kind of, pushed under the rug by the left-wing propaganda press, but back in, I think it was June, in Salt Lake City, an innocent man was shot and killed at one of these No Kings protests because some guy dressed in all black with a face mask pulled out some kind of AR-15 style firearm and fired into the crowd when he was confronted by 2 peacekeepers, okay, not police officers, peacekeepers. So this is just kind of like a lawless protest. So I'm kind of concerned what will happen tomorrow. The other point I'd make is the media is going to say, look how many people turned out. It could be 20 million people. Donald Trump won 77 million votes last year. That was the referendum that decided it. So it doesn't matter how many people turn out. What matters is what the election told us. And what the election told us is people are tired of these left-wing agitators turning out to the streets, causing chaos, and thinking they can have their way with the tantrum.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. But speaking of elections and the perpetual election denier, Stacey Abrams, who moonlights as president of IRF, was just fined also $300,000 for ethical violations for her New Georgia Project, a voter mobilization group. It's now shutting down, Matt, due to financial struggles and internal conflict. I mean, real shocker.
Yeah, that fine was the biggest in the history of the state of Georgia, so it tells you how well they're going. Her group was seeing a lot of high-level defections near the end of its history, so a lot of internal drama. They missed their door-knocking targets by, I think it was 86% in the last election, so they were barely even operational. So, no, it's not really at all surprising that they're going downhill. And it's funny because they were credited, I guess, quite prematurely in 2020 with turning Georgia blue. Obviously, that did not actually happen. There's a blowout in the last election. So not surprising at all to see them go down in flames.
Yeah. Also, Brianna, top Democrats in Pennsylvania reportedly trying to oust John Fetterman. See, when he recovered from a brain injury, he got less Democrat and more reasonable. And maybe that is like the remedy. I don't know. But I mean, this is crazy that they're going to oust their once like #1 guy. I mean, he was on a podium for the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and Carl, I actually push back a little. I think he votes with the Democrats like 96%. So the only way that he actually differs from his party is he wanted the hostages released. He congratulated President Trump on peace in the Middle East. And he says the government should be open. Oh, and that MAGA is actually not fascist and Hitler. And that's
it was
the
Nazis.
line.
We're not Nazis.
Yeah, we're not Nazis. We're not Nazis. And he says, that for Democrats, that's the line in the sand for them. So I think that what that tells you is the Democratic Party has been captivated by the far left ideologues that forced the entire country to shift right this past election cycle. And yet Democrats are saying, we don't want this guy. We got to go further left. Let's primary him. Yeah. That's the state of the Democrats.
Good luck in Pennsylvania with that attitude. Matt, remember this? Scott Jennings doubled down on CNN that Democrats have, in fact, let illegals get health care. And, of course, they're still denying it. Roll it.
People who are in the country illegally cannot get these subsidies that we're talking about.
Sure they can.
No, they can't.
No, they can't. It's federal law, Scott.
Who do you think pays when they go to the emergency room? It's the Medicaid emergency program.
Going to the emergency room is not getting an Obamacare subsidy.
You guys are conflating. You guys are conflating these issues. You're conflating.
Today, the White House coming back with numbers that proved illegals have received Medicaid at the expense of the American taxpayer. According to reports, 49 illegals that have now been arrested and deported received Medicare as the government was shut down, Matt.
They always do this thing where they'll deny that something is happening, and then once it's undeniable that it's happening, they'll say, well, okay, it's happening, but actually it was a good thing. So we're going to be very close to that stage. Jennings pointed out correctly that, we have the emergency room loophole. Illegals are, I know this isn't the official estimate, but they're probably at least 10% of the population. They probably use emergency rooms at higher than their share of the population because they use it for routine care. It crowds out the rest of us. And then also they have children who are legal citizens and they qualify for Medicare and those subsidies as well. So even if the left was right that their parents were not, their kids, there's tens of millions of them that do that are their kids.
And forget what it's overrunning the school districts and things like that. But Brianna, Matt, we appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Carl.
All right, before we go, it's Thursday. We got comments for Carl next.
The press won't report the real story.
The American people are actually very smart.
Ridiculous statements.
These guys are just plain weird.
Actual scandals.
Even the immunity decision. I mean, that decision was so misreported.
That's my job, and I aim to do it every night.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
When you need to prepare for unpredictable adventures, you need WeatherTech. Laser-measured floor liners, front and rear. Seat protector to save the seats.
They're all yours. They're here.
Hey, I knew you were coming, so I WeatherTech the car.
Can we get ice cream?
We can now.
Order your premium American-made products at WT.com.
A return to greatness with you at Trump Tower. Patriot Gold Group is the only gold company with this access.
It's about relationships and loyalty, conservative values and commitment.
Patriots protecting patriots since 2016. Over $1 billion in transactions and home of the no fee for life IRA.
Hey, I'm not just a spokesman, I'm a client since the very beginning.
Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 1-800-778-4156.
Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer nationwide. The only firm nationwide where you, the client, work directly with an owner. Home of the no fee for life IRA. See how easy it is to protect your IRA with physical gold and silver.
Call now, 1-800-778-4156.
Hi folks, I'd like to tell you about YRefi. Did you know that as an accredited investor, when you invest in YRefi, your interest rate is fixed? And did you know that you can invest from 1 to 5 years and you can spread your investment over those terms to best suit your needs? And you have the freedom to take your monthly interest income or reinvest it, whatever you choose. When you invest in YRefi, your interest is calculated daily, you're paid monthly, and should you need your money back early, there is a liquidity feature. Would you like more information? All you have to do is call 877-80-INVEST. That's 877-80-INVEST, or log on to investyrrefi.com. That's investyrrefi.com for complete details. And make sure you review the private placement memorandum and scan this QR code to view the disclosure at your leisure. YRefi, investing in America's future.
One of my faves, Thursday, comments for Carl. Let's get right to it. Okay, so I did this open the other night with the documented facts to contradict literally everything Barack Obama claimed in this recent podcast interview where his legs were super crossed. Headlines, sound bites, like we went into the archives, even used his own words. We nailed him dead to rights on any of his claims. And this person, no surprise with their profile, quote, Democrat, designer, protect the animals, most important is love. I don't even know what some of those emojis are. Okay, clearly smoking their own brand, by the way, said, you're not a journalist, you're a paid liar. I will donate $1,000 to whatever Guatemalan water moccasin charity or bake sale with whatever purple-haired, flesh-hoop, naked protest for legalizing weed if you can point to one thing in that monologue that wasn't true. The same offer applies to this guy, by the way. Higbie, you can always tell when he's lying because his lips are moving. Again, any examples? Didn't think so. Okay, so it was shocking to see how many liberals, like this indisputable facts-based refute of Obama triggered Roger, in the absence of anything intelligent to say, is Carl Higbie a drag queen? No. I mean, I'd wear makeup for the show, I guess, but all right. Anyway, this was pretty cool. Rachel, knitted me this Trump MAGA thing. I don't know, Rob, I get some pretty cool stuff from viewers.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That's one of the better ones I've seen.
Yeah, can I get one of your hairs? I'll make it a voodoo doll.
Sure, yeah. And by the way, Carl's drag queen days are long over. He hasn't done that in months.
All right, take it away, brother.
Carl, good to see you.
Weeks.
Weeks, all right.